Whew. Terrible real estate agents, mediocre lenders, and just bad real estate situations in general. Today, let's go over some real estate horror stories. If you have any that you want to submit, text it, email, whatever, but let's kind of go over these quickly and let's get right on into it. Okay, first story. This one comes from, we're going to call her CC, and she does not live in the state of Utah. But on my first house, the lender broker, the dude with all the paperwork, had completely forgotten some part of the paperwork and didn't notice until we had to sit down to sign everything. So I had to wait another week to close. So she literally got where she had to be, thought she had everything that she needed, took her another week to close. This is a big thing I don't think people really realize is that if anybody's failing in the process, the real estate agent, the lender, the title company, it's going to be a bad time and it's going to cause you to have to wait to close because there's so many nuanced pieces to buying a home in general. But let's go to our next story, CC. It was freaking awful. That was the end of that last one. But on my second house, the insurance company came back the day we were signing and said no until the hut was fixed, or like the little garage thing out back. The seller and us were like, that's not happening. So we had to call around and sign a form saying we wouldn't use the hut and that it wasn't covered by insurance if anything ever happened to someone in there. it's been fixed, but like, why wait to tell everyone until the day of signing? It caused us a lot of stress. Then the insurance came back a month later and gave us a list of things they wanted fixed around their house, or the insurance wouldn't be valid. Nightmare for reals. Back to that nuanced piece of it. Even the insurance makes it so that you can't get a loan on the property if it doesn't get everything that it needs to do. And so, especially having a good insurance agent that can talk you through problems or talk you through getting your home sold is super useful. I think that everybody thinks that real estate agents or people create problems and then you have to solve those problems. But really, if you're hiring somebody that's skilled or good at their job or whatever, they should be able to help you solve those problems or at least give you a direction. No problem's unsolvable, especially in real estate. CC's last story is, we had some D-bag realtor show up 45 minutes late to a showing and be rude to R and I the whole time and say he sells the most houses in the valley and that he really didn't want to have time to be showing houses unless we were serious buyers. I was like, well, then why did you agree to show us the houses? There are hundreds of you. I could have called someone who would be on time and wasn't rude. Stupid. I think that there's two basic personality types of people in real estate. One is the boss babe girl who doesn't take no crap from nobody and really wants to emphasize how good they are at their job and how aggressive they are and that they're tough enough. The second is the dude bro guy who's been in the market long enough that doesn't really care about his job. He's just like trying to prove how skilled he is without doing a whole lot of work. And I don't know. I'm sure there's hundreds of thousands of agents out there, but the truth of it is that it is wildly offensive how many terrible real estate agents out there are. But it's also one of those things like people gotta choose better real estate agents as well. The only reason those agents are getting paid is because people are using them. And so, yeah, real estate agents could be better. Hands down. Not disagreeing with that. But people need to do a better job interviewing them, too. So that's CC stories. Let's go to, we're going to call the next one Annie. Annie sent in, this one's not quite as crazy, but kind of interesting. The craziest thing I have experienced is a seller walking away at the closing table. Loan was done. Funding requested, all contingencies met, all parties satisfied, buyers had already signed and sent funds, so seller went to closing, got halfway through their signing, and decided they didn't want to sell. So they didn't. Buyers were livid and sad and shocked, as were the rest of us. I know they talked about suing for damages, but ultimately settled just for getting their earnest money back. In Utah, if a seller goes into default, there's basically three remedies. You can get your earnest money back. You can sue for damages and be like, hey, look, it cost us $10,000 to rent this RV for a month because we were expecting to move in, or whatever damages you have. Or three, you can sue them and force them to sell the house to you. The problem with all this is that you have to get a lawyer involved, typically, unless you know how to go through that whole system. And so there's so much gray area in real estate because it's like, yes, it's written in a contract, but if you actually want to go about trying to do something with it, you have to hire somebody else and get a lawyer involved and go through the court system and everything like that. And so that's where a lot of the gray area in real estate comes in, and that's why a lot of the simpler solutions or sometimes better ways to go. And sorry, I just went and did 4 showings, and so now I'm back. Let's get these wrapped up. The next stories are from Lily. She's a title company gal somewhere. Why is it important that we know if someone has passed away? She's a title company gal, so talking about the title company. One time I was closing a seller, and their title was vested in their trust, with both as trustees. The gentleman showed up to closing, and when I went to introduce myself, I asked if his wife was on her way. He immediately broke down sobbing, since still very recently she passed away. Oh, that's terrible. After calming him down, I then had to ask if he had her death certificate so I could prepare an affidavit. He again began crying and was upset that I was not aware of what happened. He had to then run home and grab me the death certificate before he could continue. He cried the entire closing, and I couldn't blame him. That's super hard. That's one of those things that's why the real estate agents, lenders, and everybody involved with the transaction really should do a great job trying to communicate with the title company. Because the title company gets thrown under the bus more than anybody else for the simple purpose that they have to deal with the people at the end. They're the ones recording everything. It's just super hard, though. Parents thinking that they did the right thing and not knowing all the information. There were these 2 parents who were getting older and couldn't take care of themselves, so their daughter moved in. They wanted to make sure she was added to title in case something happened. The problem was the title company they chose to have prepare the deed didn't add as joint tenants to it. This meant that when someone passed away, the others would have to go to probate. Probate going to lawyers, basically. The daughter shows up to closing, and I ask when her parents will be there. She proceeds to tell me that her parents have passed away. I had to give her the bad news that she can't close today and explain why. It took at least a month to get through probate before she could close. This is a huge... Understand what your vesting is. Understand what you're signing. If you can have it vested in a way that makes it so if somebody passes away, you just have to have a death certificate to be able to still transfer ownership of that property. But if you have it vested in the wrong way, recorded the wrong way, it becomes a whole process when one of the people passes away. And this is another big reason to use a title company that kind of know what they're doing, because they can ask you these questions. In Utah, I think that they don't have to vest you in any specific way, but a lot of the title companies I work with typically ask, hey, do you want this to automatically go to your spouse or whoever? Why good title companies are important, period. I had a pregnant single mom scheduled to close on her first home. The night before she was scheduled to close, she was on her way to get funds to close and was involved in a horrible accident. She passed away and left 2 little kids behind. Such a huge tragedy. The seller needed the funds from the home in order to buy a home down south. Unfortunately, they lost the home that they were set to purchase because this purchase couldn't take place. Also, this lady's beneficiaries weren't in order, so all of her life insurance, etc., went to her ex-husband, who wanted nothing to do with the children. Another good reminder to stay up to date on everything and make sure your property is properly vested to protect you and your loved ones. The hard thing is this single mom, I'm sure she was just doing the best job that she could to raise her kids. It's not like anybody did anything wrong. I mean, the ex-husband probably, but it's just terrible. But it is a good... Always be double checking your housekeeping on where the money goes when you do pass away. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen, but it always could. This is sad. That's the saddest story I've heard yet. I've also been caught between horrible divorce couples. Usually one causes problems, and they don't want to come in and sign the deed. Even though it is court ordered to sign, they drag their feet and make it hard on the other person. You see this all the time. That's the hardest things about divorces, hands down, is that some people don't care about money, some people don't care about getting it done, some people just want to cause the other person pain. And it's really hard to see, and it really shows you the worst side of humanity. Not enjoyable, for sure. I have had to get it to closing, and the loan amount is completely wrong, or not what they wanted. Had a few where they don't end up closing, and the lender has to go back to the drawing table and redo everything. You use a good lender, real estate agent, title company, insurance. It's all super important to have people that know what they're doing, because when one person drops the ball, it's you that pays the price. It's not the lender or the real estate agent. Had a few where agents didn't send me the addendums by using a good agent to change the sales price or seller paid, or forget to inform me of paying repairs out of the proceeds, etc. Always fun to be at the closing table and find out things aren't correct. Yeah, that's super common for title companies for sure. Done a few closings where the husband is the only one on title, and I ask if they want to add their wife. After explaining the importance of it, they look at me and say no. Awkward. Had a few even when the wife asked why not, and he just says because I said so. that's, I don't even, what do you even comment on that? That's just, just I had one where the wife took care of everything and submitted everything to the lender. So the husband was clueless about the numbers and everything since she took care of it all. I'm doing the closing and the wife is telling me they just want to sign and the husband says he wants to go over numbers. I start to go over numbers and get to the debt payoffs and he is completely unaware of all the debts. Ooh. He starts questioning what everything is, and she is avoiding it. She tries to get out of answering, and he gets mad. I offer to set out while they talk, and he says, at this point, it doesn't matter. I just want her to explain. It was pretty heated. A lot of people don't realize, like, the lending process goes through all of your finances. They look at where every penny goes to over the last 2 months. They look at your debts, and at closing, everybody has the opportunity to see all of it. A lot of people try to hide stuff in the trying to buy a home process, but it's really hard to do. That's a bummer, though. On a side note, I did tell you my embarrassing story about when I will not tell that one yet, Lily, until I talk to you in person or text you. But that's all we really got for today. Let me know if you find this interesting, you find it entertaining hearing these stories. I hope you're all doing well. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell a house, I always appreciate you bringing up my name. But other than that, thanks for watching and have a great day.